Hello guys, welcome back to PowerShell Titans and today let's see about the graphical user interface. How can we build a graphical user interface using PowerShell and what are all the basics, fundamentals and how it is actually retrieved from .NET framework and then what is the core connection between the .NET framework and then graphical user interface and the PowerShell and what are all the things you can do with it and what is a simplified way to do all those things we are going to do in this session. So pay close attention because if you are able to do, let's say for an example, a script with C, CLI. Okay, in the command line interface, it's gonna be, let's say, we will be only seeing only the text, right? But when we are doing the same kind of script and then when you are doing it in a graphical user interface, it is gonna be more appealing and then easy to interface, and then it will be projecting your project to the next level. So that is in a career perspective and also in a usage perspective. Now, before we go ahead and see about graphical user interface, what are all the reasons, what are all the scenarios we will be using the graphical user interface for? For an example, let's say first thing is you wanted to develop a tool. Okay, by nature that tool required some graphical user interface. For an example, you are dealing with some kind of graphics or some kind of charts and some kind of data to be retrieved in some kind of a table format, those kind of things. And those kind of things by nature you have to show them in the GUI. So that is first case. And second case, these are all the, let's say, what are all the cases, okay, use cases, let's say. And second thing is you want to make it easier. Let's say CLI, you develop a script using CLI, but you want to make it more, let's say, interactive and easy to use. And third thing is, so in this, what I mean is, let's say you are developing a tool and then you are giving to somebody else, let's say, who don't know PowerShell. Okay, it can be, let's say, somebody who don't have or know PowerShell in their computer. Okay, and in some cases you don't want them to use, want them to see your code. Okay, so in that case you will be converting the graphical the code to graphical user interface, and then you can also convert it to an exe file, executable file, and then you can give the executable file. So by this you will be protecting your code so they cannot see it, and you will be owning your code, and others will not be able to change. Those are all the scenarios you will be. And some cases you will be actually giving it to some kind of management, your who has no technical knowledge at all, let's say. I mean, they don't require to have a technical knowledge. So in those kind of scenarios, or L1, L2, those kind of people who wants the tool, okay, just the tool, and don't have technical exposure or technical expertise. So in these scenarios, we are making it interactive and easy to use by making the CLI into a GUI. So they don't have to know what is PowerShell, how to execute a PowerShell, what is a PowerShell script, or what is an how to go, do some kind of security, all those things. So and so these are all the scenarios that we will be doing. And in one of my example, I was developing a tool where it will be used for L1 engineers where they don't have access as well. So there is another scenario where they don't know access to execute few files. Okay, so those are all the technical limitations, let's say. Okay, So in this scenario, what I was saying is, in they are L1 engineers and they need a tool. So though they don't have server, the access to install PowerShell in their machine, and as per their role, they are not supposed to also do execute any command directly using any kind of PowerShell or any other coding language. So in that case, when we are trying to make their life easier by doing some kind of tool development or some kind of graphical user interface, we will be developing a tool and giving them as an exe file. And it is not only to not to show them what is there in the code, and also to take care of all other things, or like execution script, execution permission, and installation, all those things. All you need is exe file. So those are all the scenarios where we will be going with the graphical user interface. And so that's all the few cases. Now, when we say graphical user interface, first thing this is how we are going to take this. First, we are going to see the fundamentals of graphical user interface and the .NET framework, and then again, as I always say, do not focus on the result, focus on the approach, how I'm actually approaching. So how I will be approaching, I'll be telling you so that you can be following it, so that you don't have to know, you don't have to know how to get the fish. In spite of that, you know how to catch the fish. So that is the whole idea. The approach is main. So let's say, first of all, we always know PowerShell is a object oriented program. Everything is in PowerShell is an object. And second thing is, PowerShell is based on .NET framework. So just to refresh the memory, .NET framework is the list of libraries of codes. Okay, so how does it work? It works, if you remember the example I was giving, it will be like this. Um, the object oriented program and then .NET framework, if you put together both of them, they both will be working uh, in this one particular framework. First thing is, there is something called class. Okay, class is nothing but template. Okay, so what is a class? It is a template. For an example, you go to a school, okay, or a bank, okay, and you will be having a forms, right, empty forms, and with the fields. Okay, and you will be actually seeing, let's say, 100 or bunch of forms will be there and then printed, and then you will be taking one of them. And then if you see, all those forms will be with the same empty form and with the same fields, right? So they will be same fields, and they are, let's say, it will be based on whatever the purpose. It will be a deposit form or withdrawal form or check, and based on the school, whatever the requirement, it may be admission or anything, right? So, but whatever it is, based on that, the template will be the exactly the same thing with the same fields. So let's say you take one of the form and then you fill with your data. So what you are doing is, you are taking the class, the template, and you are making an instance of a class. Instance is just making a copy of it. Instance of a class is called object. So in this case, you take it and then you fill your details, okay, with the same fields. Okay, if take the same form, I feel the same, let's say I take the same template and I create a own another instance of another object. I mean, instance of a class will be an another object. Okay, that is another object, but they both are the instances of the same class, right? Even though you are in the you are taking the same school form. Okay, I am taking the same school form instance. My details will be different and your details will be different. Okay, now let's take a technical example again. class example, let's say in the schema, active directory schema or anything, we have a active directory users and computers, right? So if you open the active directory user, you will be seeing, let's say, to directory users and computers. Okay, I'm just looking for an example. Here we go. So, mm, mm, okay, so this is how the user will be, right? It will have the first name, it will have the last name, full name, all these details. This instance will be stored in Active Directory as a schema, and this is a class. Okay, and again, uh, Active Directory, all these things I'm giving an example just to make a point how object oriented program works and what is class. Here class is the technical word and object is a technical word. Let's put it in this way. Okay, object is a technical word, and whatever we are saying, instance, right? Instance of class and then examples, all these are just an example. But here the technical word is class. Class is a technical word for a template, and object is the class, instance or an inheritance from the class. Okay, so here whatever this empty form, whatever we are seeing is in Active Directory user in a schema, and that is a class. And whatever we are creating, let's say if you fill in with your details, that will be an object. That is your, let's say, your user account. Okay, versus my user account. Okay, they both will be having the same details, but I mean the same template, but the details will be different. So, similarly, let's say open the services.msc. Okay, services is an object, and if you open any service, and it will be having the service name, display name, description, this all these whatever this with the semicolon, right? That is will be there for everything, whether it is there or not, it doesn't matter at all. But what will be changing is will be the name will be changing, and based on that particular service, the other things will be changing. Let's say it can have the restart, the first failure, all those things, dependencies, everything will be changing. But service as is a service is a class, and whatever one single service is an object. Okay, so that is how class and then object. So why we are actually coming, I mean, when you are talking about graphical user interface, what is the need of to connect and then refresh the .NET framework and classes and templates and objects? Here is the reason. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check, okay, something called class. Okay, here is the class. Okay, what I'm going to do is .NET framework button class. Okay, and again when I say the class, okay, you always remember it is a template. Okay, what I'm checking is I wanted to create a button. Okay, and I have no idea about how to create a graphical user interface, but I'm searching for it. Okay, this is where I'm starting. Now I could see this where this navigation is starting from. It is starting from .NET framework, and don't worry about this API browser. Okay, all those things are not matter. This is where it is starting. It is something called coming from system.windows.forms. So there is one more thing is called child object. Okay, means here in this example, okay, system is a parent. Okay, parent class. Okay, and let's say child class or child object. Okay, both are same, because if we create an object from a child class, that is a child object. Okay, and in this example, let's say system dot windows dot forms is like it will be following like this: system, and under the system is a, let's say, parent class. Okay, and then whatever is coming down, right, let's say next one is windows, that is the child class of this system. Okay, this is the child. And then what will happen, it has another one. What is that? In the windows there is something called forms. Okay, so this is windows and this is forms. And again, this form, it will keep on going. Okay, there is no limitation. Okay, on this parent, I mean, system is a parent class of windows. Okay, and windows is a parent class of forms, and there is button is a child of forms. Okay, so this is the parent class. So if I open MS Paint, and this is how it will be like, this, let's say this is a system. Okay, and then it will be windows, and then within that there is forms, and within that there is a form or a button. Okay, so the hierarchy will be going in this way, like here to here, and here and here. Okay, so this is how the hierarchy will be going on. Let's say class, parent, child, class, hierarchy. Okay, and that is what we are actually typing here. Now, why I'm saying this, whatever we are going to see, right, everything, okay, will be now in this format, and this will be actually in a format of everything will be connected with the dot. Okay, so what I mean by that, here I go, initially we are in buttons, right? If you see, it will be the namespace is nothing but the class, parent class. Dot button is the class name. Okay, so class name of button, okay, is, this is the name. So first of all, uh, do you have to remember? No. All you need to remember is the approach. Okay, what is class? What, why we have dot? Why it is within system, within windows, within forms, within buttons. Okay, and you don't have to worry why it is within system, the windows and this hierarchy. Why not this hierarchy? All those things are not something we don't have to worry. Let's say I give you a dictionary, okay, Chinese dictionary, and then also the grammar, okay, and then I'm giving you how to read it, and then all those, building blocks and everything. Now you will not be, or we, it will not make sense for us to go ahead and check why this word is actually created, how this is created, all those things, or why this is the way it is created. While in English it will be different, in my language it is different. All those things, right? It is because it is there because they did it in their own style. Okay, so whatever this system under, within that windows, within that forms, within that button, everything is because Microsoft wrote a library very similar to this, and they took the decision. So you don't have to worry about why this hierarchy, why not this, all those is very similar to this. Okay, so the point is, we have to just get familiarized with this so that we can use it very effectively in our career, in our growth, and in our tool basically. So, and that is the first point. So quickly to summary, PowerShell objects will have a class, and it will have parent class and child class, and any instance of any class is an object, and I gave you an example. And we will be seeing how to create an object. Now this is a button. Okay, now I'm going to introduce one more thing called forms. Okay, I'm going to search again. Okay, what is that? In spite of button class, how, what is button? Let's say okay, let's open the MS Paint. Okay, here I'm actually creating a box, and then I'm typing something, and look, it looks like a button, right? This is what I the button, right? If I click on it, it will be happening. Let's say here, this is a view, and then let's say this will be a button. I can click on it, and then something will be happening, right? So that is the button. So, but all these complete things, let's say these tools and everything are hosted in a tool called Paint, right? Microsoft Paint. So this Paint, the complete the tool is will be called form. Okay, form is, in a simple word, form is the parent child, and in a simple thing, it is a container. Okay, container of all graphical user interface tools. Okay, or components. When I say components, it can be menu bar, button, list, option bar, options, checkbox, everything. Okay, so everything, we need somewhere to put it, right? So we have the paint, and we are putting everything here, right? Similarly, container form is very similar to this system, windows, forms, and this is what I'm talking about. Within this, we have something called form, buttons, all those things. Okay, so this is the form will be containing everything. Okay, now we are going to create a container, and let us start the transcript. Start hyphen transcript GUI 2.txt. All right, so first thing is, okay, do not try to type anything. Okay, reason is, this is not PowerShell. Whatever we are trying to do is all related to .NET framework, because we are doing whatever the graphical user interface we are doing is directly taking from the .NET framework classes. Okay, it's not going through the PowerShell. Okay, we are gonna use both of them. Okay, so this is how you need to see this. Okay, a graphical user interface or a tool, let's say, is a combination of PowerShell scripts plus .NET framework classes and objects. Okay, and what is this .NET framework classes? This is what we were discussing so far. Okay, now before we go to this, we are trying to understand this. Okay, now uh, the point is, do not type it, because there is a very good possibility when we type, this is a smallest name. Okay, and when we are typing a long name, there is a good chance we make mistake, and it will also not automatically fill by pressing the tab. Okay, uh, so just let's copy, and then this is what I'm gonna do. Okay, now it will be I'm gonna type form. Okay, this forms is this container. Okay, similarly, how this button is there, similarly this forms will be having lot of components. Okay, let's say it can be list. Okay, or okay, list, and there is something called form itself. Okay, this is the actual container. Okay, so this forms is the parent class. Okay, and you don't have to worry about it. Just S is the different. Okay, forms, it has the forms. Dot form is what we are going to create. Okay, that is all. I just want to make sure. And we are going to create new hyphen ob- object and then leave a space, and let us put hit enter. Okay, it created forms. Before that, I'm gonna do something. Okay, let me exit this. I want to show you something important. Let me open NS Administrator. Then I click on it, and let's go to okay, demo scripts. Start hyphen transcript. There is a reason why I'm actually doing this so that you'll understand. Okay, why I closed and I'm opening it again. GUI3.txt. Then now I'm going to type the same thing. Okay, what is the same thing? New hyphen object system dot forms dot form, and then I hit enter. This is what I want to show you. If you remember in the previous, it is actually you were able to see some result, right? But here it says some error. Cannot find type system.windows.form.form, right? Verify that assembly containing this type is loaded. So what is an assembly? Assembly is nothing but the library what we are talking about so far, right? This is the library. Okay, so what it says is whatever this particular class is there, right, this particular library is not loaded. So we need to load it manually. Okay, both in console. Okay, that's the first important information. Load assemblies manually, both in console and scripts. Okay, and how to load, pretty simple. We'll figure it out, and that is something you don't have to remember, but we need to make sure the assemblies are loaded. What does assembly means? Okay, now I'm just going to copy this, cannot find it. Okay, and let us go search PowerShell. Okay, here we go. Okay, so these are the two commands. Okay, here there are two commands. Okay, and before I just copied and I'm putting here. First of all, okay, this is not PowerShell command. Okay, this is the .NET Framework command. Okay, and why I'm saying this, because we are going to do the combination of both of them to create the graphical user interface. Okay, and so you might be sometimes think I don't know for .NET framework, and how could I start using it? Should I learn .NET framework also? Is that another different language? No. What, as we say, PowerShell is completely .NET Framework oriented, and so far whatever you are doing, right, everything is actually converted into .NET Framework. Now, in spite of some things will be not available through PowerShell, in spite of that, we will be directly accessing it. How we are doing WMI object. Similarly, this is when I say WMI object, this is on get hyphen WMI, right? Similarly, we are gonna do few commands which is related to .NET, and there is no need to learn what is dot. I mean, all these libraries, all these things. Okay, I will say what you need to remember and what you don't have to remember. What you need to remember here is there is something called assembly, and that assembly is .NET Framework assembly, and assembly is nothing but a library. All, and we have to load them manually by typing some commands, and this is something you don't have to remember. I just copied and pasted, and I got it from the Google, right? So that is more than enough. Here, I'll explain and then bisect how this is actually okay. Um, Again, you don't have to understand here. What I will be saying is dot is just as I just mentioned here, right? Child object and then the parent object, right? So everything will be connected with a dot. So system is a child dot child, and system is parent, child, and here is the assembly, and it says load with partial name, and the name is whatever system dot drawing and system dot windows dot forms. This is what we are trying to load here, right? System dot windows dot forms, and what it says is go ahead and load. Don't worry about with the partial name, just go ahead and load the assembly. This is what by default it says. Why we are doing this? Because we are going to do related to this as well. Let's say the buttons, all those things, right? Sometimes we said we'll be using graphics, charts, all those things, they will be coming under system dot drawing. Okay, so it is always good to have best practice. Let's say whenever you are starting the graphical user interface, first line, okay, first two lines, just copy and paste these two, okay, these two lines. Without this, don't start. So that why is this? Sometimes when you run, okay, it will run. Okay, meaning when you ran the previous command, it loaded and it is still in the cache, and then you are either in the console cache or in the RAM, and it is using. But to avoid the mistake or avoid any error, make sure this is there in all the graphical interfaces. And sometimes you will be extending more objects, and then you will be trying to use something that are not within these classes. In that case, you will be just using the same thing, okay, the same format, but find what is exactly the class we need to be, the assembly need to be loaded, and use this command, and that will be loaded. Okay, so that's what the starting. Now since we did that, now let's go ahead and try to load it. Will it give any success or failure? No, nothing. Okay, can we verify it? No. The only way we can verify is by just executing the some command again and make sure it is actually running. So now it is actually running, and I got some information, right? I'll just check few information. Let's say something that will be easier for you to, okay, back color is like background color. Okay, this is nothing but I'm going to show you. Okay, better I'll show that first so that I'll not make you confused. We create an object, but it is object is created, so I wanted to actually put it in a form or put it in a variable so that I can actually go ahead and then utilize it, handle it, and display it. I created it and then form one and hit enter. Okay, this is the same result. Now I'm gonna let us dot show is how we call anything. Let's say get hyphen process, right? And then I said if you put colon and dot count, it will go ahead and do some kind of operation on that, right? Similarly, dot is something like it will be calling the child object or child member or child anything related to child. So this will be go ahead and call the get hyphen member. If you type get hyphen member, there will be a count. So we are actually calling that, right, by using dot. So similarly, what I'm doing is form one dot, okay, and show. Okay, I'm getting lot of options. First, let me first show you what is it. So this is what we created. Okay, and why this is actually when I move the cursor on that, it is kind of processing symbol, right? And then I'm not able to click on anything, and even though I click on anything, it is not happening. And I could clearly say see it is a graphical user interface, but I'm not able to do anything. So let me do one thing. Let me come here, and then while I'm showing, it is actually taking it and showing for me visually. Okay. And similarly hide. Okay, I'm gonna make a note of all these commands. Only few things that you have to just, one is show, will be just showing it, hide will be just hiding it. Okay, and since where are they coming, I'll be just showing right away. Okay, now this is an object, and whenever we want to explore an object, exact same thing. Okay, and I can explore a lot of things, but I'm just going to show you where this show and hide is coming. Okay, this is what all these method property all of this form, and I'm going to just get the member type method. Okay, here let us search for show. Here it is. So this is the show we tried, and then hide is this is the hide. Similarly, we can have lot of things. Okay, bring to front is something like it will be always in front of all the windows. For an example, if you want to send a message to a remote computer, or you want to restart, you want to send the restart, and then the restart should be counting than any, I mean, should be on top of everything, right? In front of all other graphical user interfaces running in your in your machine. So in that case, we will be making that as a bring to front. Means that will give the first priority to that. If as of now, okay, whatever I'm talking is not making sense, don't worry. Okay, if you know that, if you are able to understand, that is fine. I'm just giving in a flow. Okay, nothing to, if there is something you have to remember, or you have to definitely know, I'll mention it. Unless otherwise, you don't have to worry. Okay, here the whole point is I just want to show you this hide, and then the show. Similarly, now they both are okay, fine. We are now, we know where this hide is coming, show is coming, but it's not useful. I'm not able to close. Okay, so what should I do? Let me again hide it. Now it's hidden. The actual way to show the form is show dialog. Dialog is dialog box. So let's say when you're show dialog. Okay. So what is a dialog box? Dialog box is nothing but, let's say we are copying list of files from one place to another place, and then in the middle, if we are there is a problem, we'll be getting okay, some kind of this, right? Source file does not exist, and then retry, skip, all these, right? This all, okay, this is what a dialog box usually mean. Okay, dialog box is nothing but a small window. Okay, so that is what they mean by dialog box or dialog. So it is just means a small window. So window is again the complete Microsoft is running in Windows, right? That is what they are saying. Dialog box is nothing but a window. What is a window? This is a notepad. This is a window. If I click on close, it will work, and it will go ahead and close it. So whatever the form we created, in spite of we show it as a normal, just a form, we are showing it as a window, as a dialog box. The dialog is a technical word for a window, the one we were using all these years. Okay, so let's try that now. Show dialog. Now it's showing, and then I'm able to maximize, minimize, and then go back, maximize, close. And when I close, there is also something called returning. It says cancel, means I can use it somewhere whether it is closed or not. Okay, again, don't worry about that. So show, hide, we know that. Show dialog is the right command to show that form. Now let's put together one by one. Okay, what are the things we are doing? Okay, steps, let's put. Okay, steps to create simple graphical user interface. First, load assembly, and then create new hyphen object of forms, which is this one. If you notice, even though I did a research for button, I'm actually starting from form, which is the container. Okay, and I created it, and then I'm actually showing it as a dialog box, which is a window. Now that is done. Now I need to actually do some kind of customization, right? It is just like there is no name. What is this about? All these things I'm not able to know, right? So let us see few things about that as well. Again, get hyphen member. I'm just showing because this is the first time we are doing. Okay, let's say and let's check for name. Okay, okay, let us try this. So whenever we are doing either it is a property or a method, it will be always name is equal to, let's say this is test form. Hit enter, and then again whenever we are doing this, this is not showing anything. Okay, we assign a name, but still we are not getting. Okay, let us say form one get hyphen member name. Are we getting anything with the name? Okay, we have accessible name, company name, product name. Let's say display. It's a read-only property. Accessible name. Let's try that. You might wonder why we are doing, and is, I mean, technically it is not going to be possible to remember all these things. Okay, don't worry about it. We are just exploring the options. Okay, and then I'll be showing the simplest way to do all these things. Okay, I actually don't remember, so I'm gonna search. Whenever we are searching, no more complete. Let's say if I type PowerShell form name object name form graphical user interface, that will give information. Okay, but if I add this particular and then put it in double quotes, right? Means it will go ahead and try to fetch the exact one, and then it will give me how to exactly give do how to exactly fetch this particular related class related items. So let us see what is the name dot text it says. Okay, here you see here. Okay, anyway, I'll open it. I'm just trying to give a name. Okay, dot txt is what it says. It says for to give a name, this is what it says. Okay, fine. So I first point is put whenever you are searching from now onwards for particularly when you are handling with forms or classes or anything, make sure you are putting the class name with a double quotes to get the accurate report result. Okay, and the reason is there are a lot of same libraries in same Python will be using the same kind of library, and say a lot of programming language will be using, but so to not to get confused and not to waste the time, make sure you put the PowerShell. If possible, also put it this also in double quotes, and whatever the class name, that also in double quotes. Okay, so that you'll get the accurate result and will not get confused. And point is not to remember the thing is how we approach it. Okay, so now I figured out what is the name, how to use it. This is test manual form. Now let's go ahead and okay, now we could see the first result. Now I could see this is the test manual form. Okay, and I'm able to close this and it's cancelled. So this is how I approached. Now I named it. I'm gonna not gonna add it because that is not a part of the thing. Now we are gonna add some components to it, right? What are the components? As I said, let's say these are all the components, right? List, buttons, all those things. These components are actually called as controls. Okay, so these are all the controls or components. They both are same. What are the components? It can be button, list, all those things. How do I know what all the components are there? You cannot find it in within the PowerShell. All we need to do is we need to go to PowerShell form controls, and I'm looking for class. Okay, okay, here we go. So this is, as I said, components. These are all the visual representatives of components. And what are all the components? Here we go. Okay, I'll just show some things that will make sense for you. Okay. Okay. Progress bar, we know, right? We want to show some kind of progress bar, right? Let's say when while we are copying, something is getting copied, we'll be seeing this is 30% completed, 40% completed, all those things. Tab control is in this is a Chrome, but still you could see I have two tabs, right? That is the tab control. And then other than that, there are a lot of things. Okay, and to list, we can go for the complete list. Okay, here we go. So these are all things. Okay, on just on the left side, right, you will be seeing under the forms, you will be seeing all these list of items, right? This is what I just click on it. Then whatever you're seeing on the under this, these are all the things related to this particular form, and whatever the components we can have. You don't have to remember all of them. You don't have to use all of them to show it. It is all on demand basis, on only requirement basis. Okay. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a form. Okay, but in the form I'm going to add a button, or I'm going to add a text. Okay, in this let's say, imagine we are going to do something like this. Okay, okay, this is the form we just created. Okay, and then it has a minimize, maximize, and close button, and then it had some text. This is text manual window. Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to add something how I'm just typing here, right? Text, right? This is a text box, okay? And similarly, I'm also gonna try to add, okay? I could try to add a button, okay? And I could name it as, let's say, OK button. This is what we are trying to do, okay, as of now, let's say, okay. And what all the things we are going to have, and you'll be seeing. One more thing is, all these are, this text box is an object, OK button is an object. So all these things you have to create it. So how we need to create it? That's the same command how we created form, and that's the same formula. This is how we need to create. Let's say label is the text, okay. Text is let's say label is how we name, let's say in our schools and notes, right? We'll be writing our label, our names, and then book name, everything, and then we'll be sticking, right? It is a kind of just an information written and then pasted, right? So the label is just a text, okay. Let's say you are creating a form, whatever on the left side, that will not change. You'll be keeping all of them as a label. uh, let's say this is the form, this is the graphical user interface you are going to create. The service name, display name, description, these are all the things that will not change, right? Those are all the things can be used as a label or created as a label. They should be created as a label, okay. And I'll say now I'm going to create a new hyphen object, okay. And let us say system dot okay, let us not type, let us copy dot label and hit enter. If you notice, initially it was not resolving. Now it is resolving because it loaded the libraries, okay. Now let us see what is the label quickly. Label one, okay. Again, it is a list of, it is just showing me an object. Now I created this complete window. I created this as a different one. I need to combine these two things, right? Let us imagine, as of now for PowerShell, this is a different object and this is a different object. And I need to bring this and then put it within this form, right? So that is what we are going to do next. Now, before that, let me show, is it added? No, this is not added yet. So we are going to add it. Form one dot controls dot add, and within that whatever the label, okay, and hit enter. And how do I verify? Just I'm showing nothing is displaying. I added it, I did it correctly, but nothing is displayed. I maximize it, whether I check whether it is there, it's not there. I know the reason. I will show that. Before that, I'll just let us complete this, okay. Okay, now we know what is the components. So now we create new hyphen object in a variable and add the component variable as control using what command? This is the command form dot, I mean here the form one is a variable, it can be anything, you can name it, okay. But this should not be changed. Dot controls dot, okay. But we added it, but still not changed. What is the, what need to be done? The reason is we created a label, but we did not say what I need to show there. Again, I'm showing empty here. I'm gonna do label one dot txt, where this text, you remember form dot text. Similarly, I'm doing the label dot text. Now I see you. Let us show. Do you see? Now I see you. This was showing, but since there was no data, there is no text, we were not able to see. Now we are able to see. Now, so that is what we did. Okay, make sure there is some data. The component has some data using dot text txt. Okay, that is only for the label and buttons, those kind of things. Okay, now I'm gonna do one more thing. Okay, I'm gonna add one more label on it. Okay, how do I add when I say one more label? I'm just gonna create the name. Okay, here it's created label 2 dot text. Now I see you too, and hit enter. Again, we only created it. Okay, we can only now if I show, it will not show. Only once I add it to the controls, then only they both will be combined. Now I'm gonna show. Is it showing? No, right? It's still showing. Now I see you, but where is the label to? Now I'm gonna show you what is gonna be there. What I'm gonna do is label one dot visibility. I'm gonna the visibility is there, right? Visibility is whether it is visible or not. I'm gonna make it. I'll first print it. Okay, visible, or let's say label one dot hide. Let's say okay. I'm gonna hide it. Okay. Now let us show. Now you could see. Now I see you too. So what happened is, or what is happening is, this is what happening. I create a. Now I see you too. Okay, and then this is created, and this is actually going, you know, below the text. I mean, label one is the, let's say this is the label one, and this label two is actually behind it. Okay, so label one is actually hiding it. Now what I'm doing to make the point, okay, this is not we are gonna do. Okay, this is all to get you your thoughts through how to think through the objects, through how exactly gonna do it. Okay, this is not the graphical user interface we are what we are going to do. This is not the way. The reason why I'm taking through this painful, or this process is, if you know this, you know how exactly we can effectively do things. Okay, now this is at the back, and then I made this hide. Okay, means since just hiding it, this will automatically visible because it is just behind that. So that is what happened here, and then that is exactly happening here. If I again, instead of hide, if I show, and then if I show the dialog, it is showing, means it is the now I see you too is behind this, and it is not visible. How do I change it? I know it is getting little bit confused, so let us stop now. Okay, stop where we are. Okay, the point is, this is how we can go if we are going to create everything manually, and this is the process. Okay, now let us make our life easier, and the tool name is PowerShell Studio. Okay, PowerShell Studio 2010. It is a Sapien tool. Let's search for it. Sapien PowerShell Studio. Okay, this is the one. I'll be giving you the link. I'll also copy in our reference. Okay, so PowerShell Studio is the one. It's a product of Sapien. It's a very famous developers, and they are very good in PowerShell. And this is the tool name. And this is the tool where you will be we are going to develop all our graphical user interface. Okay, first of all, this is a paid tool. Okay, and means if you're going to use it, you will be either you will be having 45 days or only limited things. So make sure you learn things and then try it in and even though it is a trial version, you can still go ahead and try all those things. Okay, and you can also try things in your real time as well. Okay, I mean you can extract it and then I'll be showing everything. So basically, even though it is a trial, you can still go ahead and use it. Okay, with full-fledged work. Okay, don't worry about whether it is a paid or non-paid trial version. So first thing is go to this one. Okay, I have already done that to save time. So download it. Okay, these are all the versions. Don't worry about this. It is gonna compare what all the things there, not there. Okay, VS Code we will be seeing that as a different one. Okay, IAC never ever use that. Okay, either for normal PowerShell scripting, go with VS Code, which is Visual Code Studio free download. Okay, this is the one. Okay, and if you see again, you can do it can be installed on Windows, Linux, Mac, and everything. It will work for almost all the PowerShell and then .NET framework and everything. This is the perfect tool to develop anything. Okay, anything in the PowerShell in the CLI. Okay, which is command line interface. And we'll be seeing a little bit demo about this in upcoming sessions, not as a mastery part. It will be a different session. Okay, and Sapien tool is for graphical user interface. And you all know how to download and install. That is here download and then go ahead and download and install. Once you install, you will be seeing this and click on it, run it. Okay, let us open new. Okay, so this is the Studio. Okay, there will be lot of things. Don't worry about any of these things. As of now, we are only focusing on creating a simple graphical user interface, and for that, what all the things we required, that is all we are gonna see. Okay, now let us first create new. How we create a new Word file. Similarly, we are going to create a form. Okay, and before that, best practice is create a project. Okay, either it can be, if it is a complete uh, graphical user interface, create a new form project. Form is graphical user interface. Okay, new project is something normal. It may be just a CLI or combination of both CLI and graphical user interface. In this scenario, I'm going to create new form project, and it's giving me two options. Either it's going to be a just a one single form or multiple forms. I usually select multiple forms because we never know how many forms we need. What is the form? Again, whenever form, this is the one word all you need to remember. Form is nothing but a window. Okay, that is all we are talking about. So why we need multiple forms? Let's say you are creating an installation wizard, right? Let's say in this itself, what I did, I click on, let's say, cancel it, file, and then new, and then new form project. This is actually creating one, right? This is showing me one thing, and then clicking on multi-form, and then I'm gonna name it as let's say simple GUI using service control tool. Okay, and let us create it. Don't create it in the default one. Create it somewhere where we'll be using it. Okay, I'm creating in here, and name the folder as well. Just don't name as a normal new folder on test, all those things. Name it something related to your project. Now what we are going to do is something related to service, so I'm going to name it as a graphical user interface service control tool, and select the folder. That there is no need to have anything within the folder. It will create the folder for you, and then don't don't choose anything else, create it. Okay, now it's created, and I adjust this. Okay, now once it created, okay, you could see four files created. One is globals.ps1. I just double click on it. Okay, here we go. Globals. Okay, I'm closing all these things so that okay, here I just double click on it. Global.ps1. It created a PowerShell script. Okay, don't have to remember what is the name, all those things. Just remember there are few files created automatically. All the PowerShell script will be Sapient Studio PowerShell form will be saved as PowerShell. I'll open that particular one. AMD, within this we created. You see this PS Proj, okay, which is just the name of PowerShell project. Okay, this is the PowerShell project, and this is what Sapien created. And you don't have to open all these files, man. All you need to do is just need to open this only one time. So that's the use of putting everything into one project to organize everything. And the extension is .psproj, PowerShell project, and it has four files, and these are all the four files: startup, and then main, global, child forms, and everything. It created a form for us automatically. Okay, it named it as a child form. Okay, now you could see, you see, it is the similar to the one we created, right? Almost the same. Instead of this is a test, it just says this is a child form. And it is we are gonna do some few things. Before that, let me show you what exactly we are gonna do. Let us say, what is this about? Okay, we are gonna create a form, okay, or a graphical user interface, where we are gonna, let's say, name it as GUI service control. When I say control, it is start or stop. Okay, control toolbox. Okay, and then what will this do? This will actually list all the services. Okay, list of all services. And let's say by selecting this, once I select, okay, I'm going to create three buttons. One is Mm, okay, just give me a minute. I'll copy and paste it. So let's say these are all the three buttons. Okay. Again, if you see the approach, I'm not straight away going and doing all these things in my PowerShell scripts. I'm just creating a protocol, right? Kind of, let's say this is blueprint sort of thing, okay, of my GUI toolbox. I'll be sharing all these files, don't worry about it. So now what I'm doing is I'm just first planning things. Instead of I just go ahead and write things or design things, I'm actually planning this. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna list of things. To fetch, I'm gonna have a button called list, which will fetch all of them. And then there will be a button called stop service, which will stop a service which is selected, and there will be a button called stop service. But how do I know whether it stopped or stopped? So I'm gonna have a label called service name, which is whatever the selected the service name. And I'm also gonna have label called service status, so that I know whether that whatever, let's say there are 100 services, I click on any service, it will just particular selected services service name and status will be shown. List will list all the services, and then start service will start the service if it is not started. Stop service will stop it. Okay, so can we do all these things in CLI? Yes, we can do, but since we want to make it easy to use, and then imagine that you are giving this tool to somebody else. But basically here we are doing just to understand how graphical user interface is created. Okay, that's the whole point. Don't worry about the utilization or the effectivity of this particular tool. Focus on how we are developing it. So this is the blueprint we created. Now I'm going to design it. First thing is uh, pay close attention. I'm just you see here, I'm just clicking here and then I'm dragging and dropping. Okay, how we do it in MS Paint, right? Similarly, okay. And okay, cancel is there. I don't need those buttons. And just cancel, deleting it. I just highlighted and deleted it. It stays child form. I'll first try to go ahead and run it, whether I'm able to see. I just, okay, run it. Okay, call child form. Don't worry about this child form, all those things, because we created multiple forms. Um, okay, we can just create single form as well. Okay, let's do that quickly. Okay, because I don't want you to confuse because of the multiple form. New form, sorry, new form project, and then this is the form, and then browse, and then copy. Let's say version 2. Okay, this is where we are going to create it, and then GUI service tool. Okay, this is the one. And this time I'm clicking on single form, not multiple form, just to make sure this is easier for you. Okay, now it's giving you an option to create lot of things. One is empty form, like a lot of templates, dialogue style or explorer style. And if you just click on it, you could see on the left panel the preview of it. Empty is just an empty form. Dark light is dark form. Dialogue is okay. Empty is just like this. Explorer is like this. Grid, you can install and then go ahead and check everything. But always I'll be starting with empty so that I don't have to do or handle with additional things, I can go with my free flow. Now this is done. I close all these things. Okay. Now main form, double click on it. This is the one. So what we did, we created a project and then it created automatically a single form. Now starting from here, I just adjust the size of it and it says form. How do I change this form name to my tool name? On the right panel, you see something called properties, right? This is the properties of this particular whatever I'm selecting. Okay. And here I'll be checking what all the things, and what I'm going to search is for the text, because we know here it is already form. I'm just going to change it as graphical user toolbox. Now it changed. Okay. And do I need anything else? I can do a lot of things, fancy things, but since this is the first uh, initial session, let's not focus on a lot of things and get confused. Let's focus on only on the core things. I just changed the name. Fine. Now let's create the components. So how do I create the components? You see on the left side, right? You see a lot of things. Okay. I'm gonna search for things. Let us say now let's uh, let's go to view. Just give me one moment. All right. Okay. So let's go to view. Okay. In at the top menu view, and then here I can select what all the tools I can see. Here you could see something called toolbox. Put a check on it. Now you see on the left side, you see everything: button, chart, checkbox, lot of options. Okay. So let us first close. I mean, one of the problem is it will have lot of windows, so make yourself comfortable, close everything whatever not required. Keep this toolbox and then main forms on the right side, properties. Okay. Now what I need three buttons. I just double click on it, it will create, and then I can place it wherever I want. Initially it will say button one. Okay. Now either I can double click on it or I can just navigate, or just drop, drag and drop. Okay, I need three button, right? So it says button one, button two, button three. I just check my blueprint. I don't need that. I need list, start service, stop service. How am I gonna do it? Dot text again. Where it is on the right panel. Here we go. Button one. If you don't know where what is the form, this particular name for that particular property, just check what is the name. Button one is there, right? It is already there. Okay, this must be the one. Just change it, and that is the shortcut, just in case if you don't want to remember. What is this? List service. That is what I need. You see this list service is greater, the font is greater, and then this is actually not fitting within the size, so I'm actually increasing the size again, increasing the size, because I know that is the gonna happen for this as well. And the first of immediate while you are starting itself, don't focus on style, how it looks like, all those alignment, all those things. Focus only on the core things, then you can do all the surveys. So if you have a beautiful tool and if it is not working, uh, that is not good, right? But if it is okay looking tool but is still working, that is better, right? So okay looking tool is better than very good looking tool not working tool. Okay. So let's service, stop service, or let's say start service, and this one is stop service. Okay. And there are a lot of things here. We can also do font color, background color, a lot of things. We are not focusing on any of those things now. I said I'm gonna have a list of services. So from the name itself, do I have anything that will list it? Okay, here we go. List box. That is gonna list, and let's make it little bit bigger and then align it. And list box, I'm gonna okay. I just double clicked on it. I on that box and I came somewhere else. It just disappeared. I'm not able to see, and I'm seeing the PowerShell script. So how do I go back? Here it is. We are still in the main form. There are two parts of it. One is designer part, another one is script. This is how you see on this panel. This is where, so designer is where we are, and if we double click on of any of these things, it will go to that particular. Let's say I double click on list service, it will go to that list service button, and here I can write the code. We'll come to that part. As of now, that is what just happened. Now list again, I can name it, and I either name it or not name it, but anyway, just to get into a flow, let's see. The name is list box. Now you see it is not text here. This is okay. In the previous it was text. Here it is not the text. The here is the list of services and hit enter. Okay. Okay. Just give me a minute. Okay, let's do one thing. Items here, right? Here if I put here, okay, list service, this is where it will be. Okay, this is what will be displaying here. I don't want to display anything. Okay, I'll or initially I'll just say no services listed. Okay, this is all will be confusing you. So I'm just canceling it. I'll just delete it and then I'm just going to create. Okay, all I'm doing is I'm dragging and dropping, not doing anything with this list box. Okay, let's keep it that simple. Okay, now I just aligned it, and then I'm going to create check label. Okay, you don't have to label. You see, I can type it and then it will automatically give it to me. Label, there are few labels I'm going to do. Label label 2. I can right click on it. Okay, and then copy, and then I can paste as well. Okay, so that is to instead of doing a lot of things. So why I copy four things where in my design I have only two things, because it has two part: label called service name, and I'm gonna change it like this. Okay, don't worry about that error, because okay, first thing is I click on label, and then on the right side, the text, right, I'm gonna change it as selected service name. Okay, what does that means? Whatever the service name is selected here, right, this is what I mean to say here. Okay, so this is will be by default empty. Okay, let's say empty, and selected service status. Okay, and this is again gonna be by default, I'm gonna make it as empty. So now you know why I have four labels where I in the design I have only two labels. Okay, this is gonna say me which service is that and then what is the status. Now first save it. Okay, and then home, click on run. It's asking me run as administrator, all those things. Okay, I'm running it. Okay, and then I could see it's okay. Here we go. First thing is to fix that. What I can do is okay. This status is little bit on the right side, right? So close this. Come to the form, and then I can use the Control A, select everything. Click just one at a time, and then bring to here, and then make it like this. Now run it. Okay, here we go. Now if I click on any of those things, nothing is happening. Okay, so this is just the first part is done. Let us go ahead and do the second part, means how to make this work. That's where we are gonna do it. As I say, if we double click on it, that is where it is gonna do some things. Okay, I just double click on it. It takes me somewhere. It says button list service underscore click. Okay, this click is actually called as an event. Okay, what is an event? Why we call there is an event happening and all those things, something is happening, right? So the event here, it can be a mouse click. Okay, mouse right click, left click, those kind of thing. um, Keyboard press, key press. Okay, or let's say scroll or hover. All these things are related to what we do with our computer, right? We type things and then we move, we click, and we hover. All these things are events. Okay, these are all the events, and click is the event, means what should happen if somebody clicks on this. This is the function. Everything else is written. All you need to do is write what needs to be done here, and it is also says here, right, in the hash, to do place custom script here. Okay, what is the script I'm going to do? What this list should be doing? It should just list me. Okay, get hyphen service, right? That if you see it as if I just start typing get service, it is getting service. And then what it should be doing, it should be assigning it to, let's say, all services, let's say. Okay, that's a this one. And what I'm going to do is list one dot. Okay, one second. Here I click on this. I want to know the name of it. Okay, what is the name? Is the object name. Okay, I'm just checking what is the name. Okay, list box. Okay, not list. So I come to script again. I'll be here, list box. List box is an object, so variable, and anything will be handled by the dollar, right? Dollar list box dot. Now collections. I'm just clicking on dot. I'm honestly not sure what is the exact command to assign this all services to the list box. So again, approach is important than remembering things. Okay, I'm just searching. Okay, I know I need to add, but where to add? Okay, I should I add to one more hint is what I have is, if I click on it, if I come here, items, okay, here if I type something, it will be displayed here, list, one, two, all these things. So I know if I put in this collection, this is where it will be. So I have two keywords. One is items and collection. Okay, so that is what I'm looking for here. Dot items. Okay, item. Okay, items. Dot add. Okay, that should be the add. Okay, here I don't want to add only one thing. I want to add a list of things, right? So it means a lot of things. Let me try, because all services is not one object, it is a list of lot of objects, right? So I'm adding a range of it. I'm gonna check and then let's see, run it, and list service, perfect. Now what is happening is, I'll say one by one. I have the list, I go to the right side and then I'm checking where uh, the items should be displayed, and I have two idea. One is items and then collection. So if we double click on list service, it will take me what I need to do. This is where I write the PowerShell script. This is where the PowerShell we are actually starting itself. Okay, only one command. Okay, this can be done just in one command, just to make it easier and the best practice. I'm putting get the service and then assigning it to all services, and any like form, how we are actually doing dollar form, right? Similarly, dollar list box and everything. And what is this list box, where it is coming from? I just click on it and here you will be having the name of it on the right side. You see the name. This is the list box, this is the name. If I change it, this will also change. Dollar list box can also change. Okay, I can name it as list services box, anything. Okay, again, this is a variable. Okay, dot, it's giving me all the options. What all the options it gave me? List box one dot items dot add. I wanted to add a lot of things, so I added range, and then in that all services I added. Okay, so this is what we did. And did that work? Yes, it did work. So what is happening when I run it? It is running with, I click on it, that particular two line of code will execute when I click on this. What will happen? First, it will get service, assign it to all services, and then it will go ahead and assign all those here. Okay. Now, there are two more buttons. Let's do that. Okay. First thing is, when I click on something, okay, I'm not going directly to the button. I click on something, I want that service to be displayed here. That is what this two things, right? Selected service name, selected service status. Now, for that, what I'm gonna do is I click on it, right click on it, okay, and or just double click on it, okay. Just double click, it will take to the most obvious thing that we will be doing with that list box. What the obvious thing we will be doing in the list box? We'll be uh, selecting a particular item, right? That is what we will be doing it. Now let us try what. So imagine if somebody selected the anything in this particular box, then this particular piece of code will be executing. What should be executed? All we need to do is we need to assign some value to what? To these two things. Okay. Now this selected service name, selected service status will never change, because it is just information. Only these things are we are going to change. So what we are going to do here is, what is the name of this? Name is different from the text. Okay, here it says since I named it as since I changed the text underscore, it named itself label underscore something. Okay, I don't want that. I'm going to name it as a different thing. Okay, what is this? Selected service name, or just selected service. That is fine. Now, similarly, this one, selected service status. Okay, why I'm changing is because I might be having multiple, let's say, it's very similar to how we name the variable. Okay, how we name the variable, it should be sensible and related to what we are doing, right? So that's the same concept. We should name the exact same way. And I named it this as a selected service, and this is a selected service status. Now, when I double click on it, all I need to do is selected service dot txt is equal to something. Okay, and then selected service status dot text is equal to something. So what is this something? First is I need to fetch the information from the list box. Okay, so what is the fetching information? I'm gonna do something called selected fetching is something that here. Okay, here, this is where I'm gonna do dollar list box one dot, I'm taking it from here, the clue is from here, select selected item dot to string. Okay, dot to string is what is gonna do it. And then what I'm gonna do here is first, I'll check whether this is gonna execute, whether it is working or not. Run it. Okay, and then list service, and then let me check Adobe. Yeah, I click on it. What is happening is when I click on it, something is got selected. That triggers the functions. What is the function? Here in the script, the function is this. Okay, in this we are doing only one thing. Whatever in the list box selected item, we are changing it to string and then assigning it to this selected service text. That is what it's done. If I select anything else, it will go there. It'll go there. Pretty cool, right? So it's just one line makes it very effective. Okay, and did I search or anything? No, right? I'm going with the clues and then logics, and I'm not remembering anything. Okay, so that's the approach. Again, I'm reminding, approach is important, not remembering things. Okay, now we selected this, but we need this status as well. How do we do that? Pretty straight. Get hyphen service. Okay, and name is selected. Okay, just to make it easier. Okay, what about this, right? I'm gonna assign it to a variable. Okay, I'm gonna call it as temp service. Okay, means that is the service selected. Okay, and that I'm gonna assign it to here. And what I'm gonna do is use that temp service here as well. Okay, get service, that particular temp service, and let us say select hyphen um, I need only one thing, right, which is the status. Mm, property is status. You see, it's automatically coming because I'm dealing about the NAS service. It's giving all the options. It is coming from Power Sapien. So this we know already. Get service. This will get this particular service, and then select object will select this particular status, and then it is going to assign it to this one. Let us see whether it's working or not. And okay, list service, Adobe. Now we could see the status is running, right? I click on something else. This is stopped. This is stopped. And anything else? Okay. This is running. So list service is listing, and then if I select something, it is changing the name. It is also giving me the service status. All done. Now, just two things. I need to stop and start the service. How do I do that? Go to the designer, double click on it. It will go to that particular place. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually from here I'm gonna take it. Okay. What I'm gonna do is this is the temporary service, right? So temp service is there, and I'm gonna copy it. When I click on start hyphen service, okay, the name is temporary service. That's it. Okay, similarly, I copy this one. This is for start, and then let me stop service. Okay, now let's see whether it's working or not. This service, Adobe is okay, good. It does stop service. It is already started. It is not doing anything. Okay, maybe I can try stop service. Okay, both are not doing anything actually. Okay, maybe is that because of that service? I click on something else. I click on it. That is also not doing. Uh, If you any idea why it is happening? And if you see in the output, okay, if we are getting any error here, we will be seeing error as well. Okay, the reason why we are not getting anything is we are not running this as an administrator, and service stopping and starting will be done only if we are running as an administrator, right? So there are two options. Either you can run the straightforward good option is run it as an administrator. So I close it, file, save all, so that you will save everything. Okay, and I mean, this is the error. Okay, elevated access is required. Okay, mm, all right, let us close it and then try to reopen it as an administrator. So here we go. I opened it as an administrator, and before we run it, let me check and few things. So what we are doing is when we click on start service, we are starting service. We need to refresh this information, right? This is getting from the old information. This will be having the one that was when we click on it, what was the status? It was captured here. So when we change something, we need to refresh this data, right? So I'm going to again copy that as well from here. Okay, so what I mean by refresh, I'm just gonna get the same thing, okay, and then put it here. What is the same thing? Temp service, and then select it and then put it in the selected service, and then what is the status? That is after starting, and similarly stopping the service. And there is a good chance, since we are in a different scope and all those things, this temp service may be different or maybe clashing, right? What I mean by clashing, sometimes when selected temp service will be different, and then whatever the assigned to the label will be different. To make sure we are stopping the right service, the one selected, I'm also copying this one, whatever the selected, just copying that. I'm also making sure paste it here. What all the things I'm doing? First thing is I just make sure the temp service again retrieved from the list box directly, so that I know that is the temp service, and then I start it. Once I start, I'm refreshing the data by selecting the text. Okay, the text is assigned from the temp service, and then and this is the status is also there. Let us try to run and list the service. Adobe, it's stopped. Let us start. Here we go. So what is happening is, first thing, I I list, and then this is the command. This is what is gonna happen. Whatever the selected. Okay, first thing is, yeah, get service, getting all the service, and then assigning to all services, and then adding it to the list box as an items. Second, I click on the list. After that, I click on any one of the item. I'm sorry. So if I click on any one of the item, that will be actually selected, and then here it should be reflecting. For that, what I'm doing is I'm capturing whatever the selected to string to temporary service, and then it is shown. It is displayed as a text in this label, and whatever the status is captured and then displayed as a text in this particular label. And that's the same formula we are applying when we clicking on start service. Let's say this is currently start. If I click on stop, it will take whatever it is. It's stopped now, right? It will go ahead, take this particular service, whatever the selected, assign it to temporary. It will stop the temporary service. Again, make sure these information, two information is up to date. Okay. Now started, running, stopped. Anything else? Spooler. Yeah, here we go. It stopped. Let me start. It started. It stopped. So this is all. Again, what all the things we have done. We created a graphical user interface. We have listed few things from the real environment, and then we interacted ourselves and wrote some commands to do some real things. So I'm saving this. I'll be sharing this as well. Okay. Try the same thing. Okay. Try to download and install, and then try the same exact thing. Okay. Make sure it is actually running fine, everything, and then try to come up with some other new task. I'll also give a task as a part of it. So now we did this as for service, right? Can you try with instead of service, let's try for a process. Let's list all the process. Okay. So the same thing. Okay. Make sure you change to graphical user interface. uh, instead of service, let's do it as a process, and then you can try all these things, change everything, and then list all the process, kill the process, and then just killing should be fine. Once you killed, it will not be available, right? So kill it, and then that should be fine. And you can also come up with your own things, and then we can try. That's all, guys. Just to give you what all things we have covered. We started with what is graphical user interface. CLI is a command line interface. GUI is graphical user interface. Why we use it? Graphics, charts, data tables, everything, and other things. Interactive, easy to use. You don't to somebody don't have PowerShell or no PowerShell. You wanted to secure your code, all those things and other case scenarios. And then we started from objects before we directly go to Sapien. And then we started with class, and then object, and parent class, parent object, both. I mean, instance is just an object. And why, what is a dot means, and we actually searched for the class, and then where to focus and how this is created. PowerShell script. If you see here, it is a PowerShell script here, just two to four or three or four lines combined with all these things. Okay. uh, and then we added the loaded the assemblies, what is assemblies, and then basic things, and then we did everything through the graphical and through the you know through the console. And then we seen what all the problems we have, and then why we need to use it. and how to add a, create a form, multiple form, all those things, best practices, everything. And then we also tried an example. I hope that helped you to give a clear idea. The last one more thing I want to show you is how to actually export it, right? Go to deploy and click on export to a file. This will export everything. Okay, let's say this is graphical user interface, and let us say this is mm, output service tool. Okay, I copy this and then save it. This is saving as a PowerShell script file. Okay, it's saved and it is here, and I right click on it and opening with the notepad so that you could see. Now you could see the entire thing. Okay, what is the entire thing? You see the assembly is loading, and then objects are created, and then everything, whatever Sapien is doing, everything is converted to a PowerShell script. You don't need now Sapien. This is why I said you can do it in the Sapien, export to a PowerShell script. Again, complete everything, make sure everything is done, then export it so that you'll be done before the expires. It expires. Then let us go to this particular location and execute output as a normal thing. It will work just like that. Stopped, start it, stop it, everything will be fine. Okay, that's how we export it and then use it. And then this is how, if you see, everything will be connected. Assembly, and then new object or form, label, everything is added. How it is added? Let us search for, how do we add? Dot add, right? Yeah, add controls. Here we go. How those controls are added, and what is the temp service is the one we wrote, right? This is the code we wrote. All everything will be exported, and you can say that you wrote this complete script, right? Because actually you did it. You designed everything. Okay, you named everything. Okay, and you can also remove all these hash things and everything. Okay, this is all related to PowerShell Studio. If you want, you can remove all of them. Okay, if you want to save or secure your techniques, and then that's all. So that is all I want to share you about graphical user interface. Make sure you go ahead and try it right today, so that because lot of things might be looking very simple things, but once you go and try only, you know what all the things, minute things might go wrong. Okay, so being said that, thanks for your time and have a wonderful evening, and then let's see in the next advanced session. Thanks all. Bye. Take care.